Guilty verdicts broke about 2 hours ago, and Marty, sources inside the court said Cosby had been fairly quiet up until that point.
That's right. Sources in the courtroom said the prosecutor's push to revoke his bond prompted the 80-year-old comedian to suddenly shout, quote, "He doesn't have a plane," followed by an expletive. ABC's Maggie Rulli filed this report from the courthouse explaining why this second trial ended with a verdict instead of a hung jury.
A guilty verdict for Bill Cosby after an emotionally charged case that portrayed Cosby as both a serial rapist and a victim of the outrage generated by the Me Too movement. The jury of 7 men and 5 women have come to their unanimous decision.
Guilty, guilty, guilty!
The 80-year-old comedian was found guilty on all 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault related to accusations of drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constand, a former Temple University employee, at his Pennsylvania home in 2004.
When the verdict was read, Cosby hung his head, later lashing out and cursing at the district attorney when he tried to have him sent straight to prison. Cosby's team says this isn't the end.
We don't think Mr. Cosby's guilty of anything, and the fight is not over.
One big difference in this retrial, jurors were allowed to hear from 5 additional Cosby accusers. The prosecution claiming they show Cosby had a predatory pattern. But in closing arguments, Cosby's defense team said all of these accusers fabricated their stories for money, fame, or attention, going on to blast the Me Too movement, describing it as mob mentality, primarily based on emotion and anger.
Today, some of those accusers who testified say they feel like the system is backing them up at last.
We are vindicated. We are validated.
This jury has shown that what the Me Too movement is saying is that women are worthy of being believed.
Maggie Rulli, ABC News, Norristown, Pennsylvania.
And we have been watching our social media accounts since we posted the story as soon as it broke about 1:45 this afternoon.
That's right. Mixed reactions, of course. There are many who agree with the verdict, wondering how he thought he could get away with this for so long and saying this is justice. There are some people who are wondering why it took the women so long. They're not convinced of their accusations, and others responding that the assault happened at a time when women did not speak up. But this case actually started years before the Me Too movement, which began last year. People very strongly opinionated on this issue, so it's an interesting read on WFTV's Facebook page.
And to think the 80s Cosby with his fame, and then the 60s Cosby who started out as a comedian, I mean, to have it end this way.
Now, for anybody who's watched all of that, it's really an amazing thing. There will be some people who only know him for this.
Yep.
So.
All right, Marty Sol, thank you for that. Meanwhile, we're following some news here at home. Right now, we're waiting for the sheriff's office to reveal more about the person they say opened fire on a deputy.
Was revered as America's father is now convicted of drugging and molesting a woman. This afternoon, a jury in Pennsylvania convicted 80-year-old Bill Cosby on 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault. Channel 9 anchor Vanessa Eccles has been monitoring this story, and Vanessa, Cosby is facing up to 30 years in prison.
Martha, his attorney said late this afternoon they will appeal his conviction, and the fight is not over. Prosecutors said the jury delivered justice that Cosby had evaded far too long. Now, Cosby has faced dozens of accusations, but in this case, he was charged with drugging and molesting a woman who worked at Temple University at his home in 2004. The original trial on the charges ended with a deadlocked jury. After the verdict, Cosby lashed out at prosecutors in the courtroom today. His accusers say this is a day they have waited for.
We are vindicated, we are validated, and we are now part of the tsunami of women's power and justice.
We are very disappointed by the verdict. We don't think Mr. Cosby's guilty of anything.
Cosby is facing up to 10 years in prison for each of the 3 charges on which he was convicted. He is scheduled to be sentenced in 60 to 90 days. Greg?
An infant is being treated in a hospital after a 17-car crash.